Okay, for my first two choices is the war in Ukraine and immigration. They're both very important, and they've got to be solved the sooner the better, because they're going to have long-term effects, and we got to make sure we do it right. I'm going to go into Ukraine first, but they're both very important, and they got a time limit on them. If we don't fix them now, we'll pay for it forever. So I'm going to talk about Ukraine and the war in Ukraine. I don't know how to keep from dragging it out. I don't know how much I need to explain to you why it's where it is and why I think it's wrong. Putin invaded Ukraine totally on his own. He had no reason, nobody asked him for it. It was all Putin's idea, and the story he gave us, that he wanted to put Russia back together and make Russia highly recognized in the world and him be a great leader. Well, that's not what he's done. And I'm going to go into it in detail to show you he was pulling your leg up front, and everybody's bought it and let him get by with it. He lined all them troops on the border and get the world a vision of what he was getting ready to do. So he gave the United States and NATO to tell them what they were going to do. But what they do, my president says Putin is going to invade Ukraine, but we're not going to put boots on the ground. And the NATO members, nobody showed up at the border. So Putin had the green light to invade Ukraine. Now, what should have happened, that NATO and the United States have got enough members and enough equipment. I will use the example of what George Bush done Jr. or Senior, George Bush Senior, done in the Gulf War with Hussein. They give him an ultimatum, and he didn't listen. In 41 days, they destroyed the fourth largest army in the world in 41 days. Now we're in Ukraine. It's in the 16th month now because we didn't make a decision up front. We're weak. We could have told Putin, do not cross the border into Ukraine, and he would have turned his troops and went back to Russia. Because that's why he put them there at the border, to see how they would react. And we showed a weakness, and he took advantage of it. But I'm going to tell you how we let him buy into this story, I guess. We bought into it. He's talking about history and all this and that, and he's going to make Russia a great country again, and he's going down as a hero. That's not true. I'm going to show you factually what he done and why he shouldn't have invaded Ukraine. The one reason he should have invaded, because if he wins the war and takes control, the most important part of the real estate in that part of the world, it's a bad military position for the United States and NATO and the rest of the free world. I'll tell you why. Because Ukraine is most valuable, one of the most valuable pieces of real estate in that part of the world. And that Sevastopol seaport there in the Black Sea is very, very important to shipping and moving industrial products, but military, it's very important to Russia and China, because China's got the people and Russia's got the resources. So, and if they win the war, Putin has already got the Navy in the Black Sea, right there, Sevastopol, the deep seaport. Very, very important. Very important for shipping goods throughout the world, from that part of the world. But it gives China and Russia access to North America through the Black Sea the Mediterranean Sea to the U.S. and Canada. Now that's a big military mistake right there. We need Ukraine in charge of the seaport in the Black Sea, and then they can control Putin and China on what they do in the Black Sea. Now that's very important military-wise, but there's no reason to let one little man affect the world economy, charge trillions of dollars worth of damage to the infrastructure of that part of the world for no reason. There's nothing good out of Putin invading Ukraine. Nobody asked him to go. It's all Putin done it all on his own, but he didn't do it for what he promoted he wanted to do. He wanted to make Russia a great country, be highly respected, and he'd go down in history as a great leader. Well, I'm going to tell you, Putin is at the bottom of the boat right now. I'm going to tell you who Putin is. Putin is a sadistic, evil person. He gets great pleasure out of torturing the people of the world. He's got an MO of a serial killer. I'll put another good word in. He's unscrupulous. Now that's what Putin is. I mean, look what he's done since he's been in office. And I'm going to show you why he is what he is and why he's always been pulling our leg. The first year in office, he bombed an apartment building in Russia and blamed it on the Chechnya and killed a lot of kids and a lot of people just so he could show them how powerful he was. And I don't know how many people died in Chechnya, but there was a lot of kids died in that apartment building. I seen a video showed them kids laying around dead, and it was pulling them out. But that shows you from the very beginning, Putin had that desire to show he had power over people, and nothing they could do about it. And he convinced the Russian people he was going to be great again. Well, let's look at Russia. Russia's worse shape now than the day Putin took over. The people, there's thousands and thousands of people have left Russia to keep getting his crazy war. The economy in Russia is in terrible shape right now. And Putin has done nothing to make him a great leader and prove Russia was going to be highly respected in the world. So let's go down through it. Putin, from the very day he was put in office, he was planning his view of becoming dictator of Russia. And then to become dictator, that gives him power, total power over the Russian military. Now all you got to do is look at what he's done with the power he has with the military, the destruction he's done in the world. Syria, Georgia, on and on. But it started out the first year in his office. It showed who he really was. Power over people and having no respect for human life or property. So we've let him affect the world economy. We're spending billions of dollars every day in military equipment to stop him, and could have stopped him at the border. So that's a big mistake. And here I keep trying to tell myself, why did this happen? This is one of my big questions. I'm always asking why. Was it because they was asleep at the wheel? They didn't care? They're evil? Or always says, don't believe what you say or hear. Follow your money, do the math, facts are facts. The answer is somewhere within them options, but I see one of them that's coming up to the front, but I won't mention it right now. But Putin, all they had to do is tell Putin don't cross the border into Ukraine. It'll be your last mistake. And this thing would have never happened. The people of Ukraine would still be living a normal life. The products that Ukraine produced would be shipped all over the world. The people wouldn't be dying from starvation because Putin, what ground he hadn't blown up, he won't let them ship it out of the Russian support in the Black Sea. So Putin, if you want to say and give him any leverage, I don't know who would like to say that Putin had the right to invade Ukraine. He had no right, it was illegal, it was wrong. And so we just keep carrying it on, day in and day out, spending more money, but a little bit at a time. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not very happy with my president and how he's handling the war in Ukraine.